My name is Lindsay Mathyssen, and I'm the Member of Parliament for London Fanshawe for the NDP. My mom had been elected. She was elected when I was 11 years old. And so it's been in my family. But even at that young age, people kept asking me, oh, are you going to follow in your mom's footsteps? Are you going to run? And I thought, no. But I was part of all of her campaigns. I was so proud to be part of that team, and eventually when she was reelected federally, that was amazing. With all that training, I worked on so many other election campaigns for New Democrats across the country, and that was an incredible experience. And then that led me to working for members of Parliament, and I did that for quite a long time. And again, I was so incredibly proud to be a part of the team, that I knew I was helping people and part of that movement. But I was okay to be the behind-the-scenes person, not the upfront spokesperson. And then I got more involved in my union, and I was advocating for our members, and something with me just clicked. And people kept asking me, will you run? And I stopped saying no, and then thought about it more, and eventually, to my shock, actually said, okay. And then I say to a lot of folks, I knew I would regret it if I didn't try it. And so I tried it. I think my proudest accomplishment is just being able to help people, and that's every day. You hear from your constituents and they say, thank you so much, you helped me through my problems with EI, and it meant that I could pay my bills or feed my family. That you can help someone who is trying to get their mother into the country just so they can see their newborn grandbaby. And what that means to folks, and being able to help them. That's what my mother was so insistent upon when we talked about me running. And it was just to help people, and so I think that that's what I'm most proud of, and that can almost be every day, so it's a pretty great job that way. I'm motivated by that sense that I can be a part of something bigger. There's helping people on the ground every day. There's solving some of those problems, working through all the levels of government and trying to help people get through that every day. But then there's also the bigger picture of working on pieces of legislation that I hope will help people, or trying to stop pieces of legislation that I know will hurt people. So those are the things that keep me going every day, even through long ones. I think the biggest thing that I learned after becoming a member of Parliament about the political world was actually how nonpartisan I could be. Because I consider myself to be fairly partisan, fairly strong in those convictions of why I'm a New Democrat. But oftentimes you have to work with people that you don't always agree with, but you have to find something that you agree with them on. And that's not always easy. Sometimes you have to look really hard. But you do it because, again, it's about helping people. And so you may not always get your way. You don't get 100% of what you want, but I think it's that ability to put that aside and say, well, you know what, it's not about me. And doing what you can that's best for the most amount of people. Working across those party lines to achieve something that we could truly help people, that we knew would help people, was actually, I was working on the Status of Women committee. And it was at a time when a lot of the sexual misconduct in the armed forces had come out into the media. And we'd known about it for quite a long time, but unfortunately the Defense Committee was really caught up in the politics of the situation. And I was able to speak to my colleagues on all sides, Bloc, Liberals, Conservatives. And we ensured that we brought that same or a similar study into status of women, because we knew that we had to get at solutions. And so we were able to come together to really try and get at some of the problems. We created a report. We worked together the entire time. It felt really collegial. And it's something that I continue to work with today. A lot of those stories, they still hold with me, of course, hearing a lot of those women coming forward. And so it's something that I'm still trying to work forward on and try to hold that sense of collegiality with it so that things can actually move forward. I think that some of the biggest challenges to democracy right now is our inability, actually, to find common ground. The divide between people I've seen it since the pandemic grow quite significantly. And I've seen political parties who exacerbate that. And people, I don't know if it's a lack of patience anymore. It's simply because they're hurting so much, and so they've withdrawn a bit. The pandemic has certainly caused a lot of that. But it's that inability to really step outside your own circle, your own space, that maybe that comfort zone, and really try to find the empathy for others, or even just hear another point of view. That worries me, actually, quite a lot. And one of the things that, again, as a New Democrat, I think is so important is that coming together, is that you work towards programs, social programs that create equality for everybody. I mean, ultimately, I believe that that's government's job. And so when a community can come together to create something bigger than itself for everybody, that's the role of government, that's the role of social programs. And so the defense of those is so core to what I try to do every day. But that division of people, not even being able to hear something outside of your own needs, as politicians as well, that gets in the way of what I think we're here to do. My hopes for the next generation, I have met some incredible young people. And I find it funny that I say that because I still try and think of myself as young. But the next generation, they stand on street corners fighting for their environment, for their own education, for, again, that sense of coming together and creating something bigger than themselves. I actually, just this past week, I was in my riding and I was sitting with a group probably in their early 30s or so who have already run for political office and are just so charged by it. They aren't letting anything stand in their way. They're like, okay, let's work for next time. And they bring such a positive energy to things. A lot of people discount younger Canadians, and in a lot of ways they have it much more figured out than we do, in an older generation, in terms of, some of the changes that are coming forward. If we think about technology, we think about the social media space, we think about those bigger world issues, they understand it. And so incorporating their voice in everything that we do, ensuring that we encourage them to run and to win and to be a part of the space, that true diversity within our democratic institutions has to be there. And so that energy is much needed. One of the things that my mother told me, she was thinking about retirement, and she said, she had so much more. And you can tell that when I talk to her about issues, she's totally engaged, but she lacks a bit of that energy to go out every day and do 12-hour days and travel back and forth to Ottawa and to commit that much. Because it's a lot. I won't lie, it's a lot. But she's a little sad that she doesn't have that same amount of energy, and yet she also knew that she didn't, and it required somebody who did to continue on the work. So, yeah, we need a lot of that different diversity within our institutions, just to ensure that we have the representation that's required. I think it's just to believe in yourself a lot more, and to not be so worried about what people think about you. But I don't know if that's something that you can only gain with age. There are so many things that we have to deal with socially, especially as women, of what we're told, what we can do, what we can't, just those built-in expectations, societal norms, and they're not right. How you look, how you speak, the tone of your voice, that you get angry and that's not okay as a woman, because sometimes you should really get angry because things aren't right in this world, and you gotta fight back. So I think I'd probably just say, you know what, you're on the right track, and you'll figure it out, and give yourself a break, and don't worry so much about it, because if your heart is in the right place and you know what you're doing is the right thing, and that you're thinking of other people in that context, and you're showing that empathy, and you're truly able to say, this isn't about me, that what I'm doing is for other people, and to remember that a lot, then I think you'll be on the right course. So probably tell her that.